Hello, my name is Azucena Morales, and today I'll be talking about environmental wellness connecting underrepresented students with nature. My SMART goal for my Eli project was to organize two inclusive, free nature-based events for underrepresented UCSB students during the academic year that support mental health, meet basic needs for community and well-being, and to begin integrating environmental justice into the framework for future programming in the university housing residential curriculum. Why this matters? While nature supports mental health, focus, and emotional well-being, underrepresented students face financial, cultural, and safety barriers. This project fills the equity gap and supports environmental justice. So yeah, I am currently a fourth year RA within the apartments this year. I serve the Chicanx Latinx scholars. I have worked in housing for my past 4 years, and having experienced and now having worked within knowing how events are made and how the residential curriculum works, it has really shed light on how there really isn't a focus when it comes to overseeing specific communities. And even at the beginning of the school year, there was really no direction for how I would take this position. And it was kind of up to me to really want to push myself and see how I would want to have my community be represented or how I wanted to move forward with my community. So it was really up to me to really push for this need to have such a environmental well-being focused community. And even just bringing it up, it was kind of hard because it wasn't something that was never really talked about. And when having my first event and taking these surveys, it really showed that these students are showing up, and most of these students are EOP students who it kind of shows that these are first generation low income students. And then we see that there are, of course, still a small amount of the LLCs, but LLCs are always way less than the regular residents that don't choose to live in an LLC. So an LLC is a living learning community. It's sometimes identity based or it's sometimes affinity based. However, I do oversee an identity-based LLC, which it takes a lot more work and commitment to. And that's what I really wanted to dedicate my time, my fourth year, really giving back to my community and understanding what it means to give back to my community. And I really hope that this truly fills a gap for equity when it comes to UCSB students and how they feel represented in spaces and how they feel like they could um, join these spaces without having any barriers, whether it comes to financial, of course, cultural, and safety. And yeah, so what I did was my first event was to create a rock climbing event. It did bring together about 52 residents. And what I really learned from that was so many people coming up to me. They had so many questions, they were curious, and a lot of them were scared. They had never really had the opportunity to rock climb. It wasn't something that was really advertised to them. And even having Rexon workers there explain to them that their first time rock climbing at the Rexon was free. They had never really heard that before. And it's a lot more surprising given that my demographic of students are upperclassmen and they're just finding this out now, shows that we need to bring these resources more out to our students. And I tried showing housing after the event, all that we had learned and how we need to move forward as a department so that our students know what resources are being given to students. So yeah, this event really showed people to like come out there, de-stress. It was during close to finals week, midterms, in between that rough space where everyone just has exams. So it was really nice to have people out there. They really learned about their community within a very nature-esque way. We had health and wellness table, and they learned how they could have these resources on campus support them in a in that type of aspect as well. And then my second event was a tour of the Coal Oil Point Reserve. Not a lot of students knew what the Coal Oil Point Reserve even was, especially living on West Campus, which is where pretty much the Coal Oil Point Reserve is it's all over there. And so for them to understand why they sometimes have fences on the beach and why they're not allowed to walk in certain spaces, it really taught them a lot. And a lot of them were surprised about the research that is done. And I also gave out basic need items for that event. I tried giving away goodie bags that they actually got to paint. And then I got another Eli student to donate um, body wash, hair care, and we put them in mason jars, and students were able to take them, and then they are able to bring them back to the USEN, and students were really appreciative of that. I think that these are the type of resources they don't really think about when it comes to what RAs can give out. I think that sometimes there's a lack of intentionality when it comes to planning for RAs because they don't really have a sense of direction. It's kind of more what you kind of want to do, and no one really has given people focus yet. And I think moving forward now, it really shows that we need to have this kind of purpose and direction when it comes to planning stuff because we need to see an outcome for these students and how they feel like they're being appreciated, they're being seen, how that they that housing wants to take care of them, not just in giving them housing, but that their events are focused on supplying them stuff that they actually really need. So now moving forward, I did add to the residential curriculum, to our educational grid. I added to the bottom of it well-being, justice, and sustainability. And they're kind of just simple statements because it's so that it kind of can be filled by any RA despite if they are an LLCRA or not. And it kind of just, but it really focuses on spreading awareness and giving back to your community that you're responsible over. And so this will be something that is continued and will be required when it comes to having these events. They're going to have to choose a learning outcome or a learning goal. And hopefully it will be, maybe someone wants to focus more on well-being, justice, and sustainability. And hopefully we'll see that more in the future. But yeah, students, residents specifically will obviously try to, it'll be focused so that they know they have these resources and access to nature, especially given that we are at UCSB, we are at a place that has access to nature, the beach, and that RAs are trying to bring out their students more and encourage them to have a footprint within their community, not just social, but in a very physical aspect. And knowing these environmental justice issues and how it can impact their community further. And really just being vocal about how you could advocate for one another. Um, so yeah, I really learned a lot through this um, project and I gained so much from it. I really learned how to be a project manager and really advocate for who I wanted to work with and who I didn't, even if there were times where I wasn't getting responses. It was kind of nice to know that, okay, well, if this isn't something that's working out, well, I have to go through a different route or like really taking feedback and learning from it and just having to oversee so much and talk to so many people and submit so many forms and try to get so many information out of people. Um, it was nice to know that I did my best and I led with empathy, inclusivity, and persistence, and how I truly stood up and tried to advocate for these types of goals for housing so that they moving forward that it will hopefully change and spark this change and it just continues changing because these are things that are necessary for our current climate that we are in and how we support these students moving forward. So yeah, my lasting impact is, of course, my housing residential grid and my residential facilitation guide. So RAs, of course, will have the opportunity to look over the way I proceeded with these events and how they could use it in the future. And they could replicate it, they could change it if they want to go more intense, more mellow. it's okay, but they have a starting point and there is something that they could look back to for any reassurance. So I'm really proud of the work I did. I really integrated, of course, like these environmental justice factors that really spoke to the community that it needed to. And I know that I really have made an impact because now this is a requirement for RAs. And moving forward, housing will do their best to stick to this curriculum. Uh, so yeah, it's great.